Procrastination is something we all face, but for many women, it can become a barrier to achieving our fullest potential. We often find ourselves saying, "I'll do it later," and before we know it, time slips away, and we're still stuck in that cycle of delay. But procrastination isn't about being lazy, it's about mindset. It's a lack of discipline and control over our thoughts and actions. Stoicism, a philosophy practiced by the likes of Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, offers powerful tools to help us take control. In today's video, I'll share 5 Stoic principles that will not only help you conquer procrastination, but will also guide you toward building strong habits and unshakable discipline. These aren't just ideas, they're strategies that will help you take real action and achieve your goals. If this video resonates with you, please like, subscribe, and drop a comment below about which principle stood out to you. Let's grow together. Chapter 1. Embrace the reality of time. Act now, not later. One of the most profound and essential lessons that Stoicism offers is the understanding that time is fleeting. Time is an unforgiving resource. It's constantly moving, never pausing, and once a moment is gone, it's lost forever. Yet, despite this fundamental truth, we often fall into the trap of procrastination, convincing ourselves that we have plenty of time to accomplish everything. We push things off with the false belief that we'll have tomorrow, next week, or next year to get to them. But here's the harsh reality. Time waits for no one. The moments you let slip by are moments you'll never get back. And this is where Stoicism offers us a powerful antidote to the paralysis of procrastination. The Stoic philosophers, especially Marcus Aurelius, understood this concept deeply. In his Meditations, he wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." This is not merely a reminder of our mortality, but a call to action. When we truly accept that time is not infinite, we begin to act with a sense of urgency. We stop telling ourselves, "I'll do it tomorrow," or "I'll start next week," and we instead ask ourselves, if not now, when? This simple but profound shift in perspective is the foundation of overcoming procrastination. Stoicism teaches that one of the most important skills we can develop is the ability to be present, to embrace the moment, and to understand the urgency of time passing by. The reality is, life is unpredictable, and tomorrow is never guaranteed. We often procrastinate because we allow ourselves to believe we have more time than we actually do. The ancient Stoics were acutely aware of this, and this awareness is what allowed them to lead purposeful, action-driven lives. Instead of letting time slip away, they acted with purpose and mindfulness. They didn't wait for the perfect moment or the ideal conditions. They created those conditions through their actions. When you start to internalize this urgency, procrastination begins to lose its grip on you. No longer will you fall victim to the false belief that time is on your side. Every moment you waste procrastinating is a moment that you'll never get back. By fully understanding the fleeting nature of time, you make a conscious decision to act, not later, but now. It's about recognizing that every second is valuable, and once you grasp this, procrastination becomes a choice you no longer want to make. Don't wait for motivation to magically appear or for some external event to spur you into action. Stoicism teaches us that the perfect time to act is always the present moment. There is no perfect moment, no ideal set of circumstances. The key to overcoming procrastination is to realize that time doesn't slow down for you to catch up. You must act within the time you have. Ask yourself, if not now, when? This question forces you to take immediate action. Instead of waiting for the right conditions, you create them. You begin to shift from a mindset of delay to one of decisive, purposeful action. It's this mindset shift that allows you to overcome procrastination and take control of your life. You don't let time slip away, but instead use every moment to move toward your goals and fulfill your potential. In practical terms, this means you don't wait for motivation to act. You take the first step, whether it's starting a project, going to the gym, or simply tackling that one task you've been avoiding. The key is to act now. The more you embrace this mindset, the more you'll find procrastination losing its power over you. Remember, it's not about waiting for the perfect time. It's about making the time you have perfect through action. Chapter 2. Discipline over motivation. Take action without waiting for feelings. When it comes to overcoming procrastination, one of the most important Stoic lessons is that discipline is far more reliable than motivation. Many people fall into the trap of waiting for motivation to strike, thinking that they need to feel inspired or energized in order to take action. The truth is, motivation is fleeting. It's a temporary burst of energy that can easily dissipate when the going gets tough or when distractions arise. And when you're relying on motivation to propel you forward, you'll often find yourself stuck in the cycle of procrastination. In contrast, discipline is the foundation of consistent action. Discipline doesn't rely on fleeting emotions. It's about showing up, day in and day out, regardless of how you feel. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, taught that true strength comes from doing what needs to be done, regardless of the internal resistance we might feel. He understood that feelings of motivation will come and go, but discipline is something that can be cultivated and maintained through intentional action. Discipline is the steady force that pushes us through even the most difficult tasks, and it's what helps us stay consistent when motivation fades away. Procrastination thrives when we wait for the perfect moment or the ideal set of feelings to kick in. If you're waiting to feel motivated, you might be waiting forever. The key is to stop waiting for motivation and instead focus on building discipline. By creating systems and habits that encourage consistent action, you eliminate the need for motivation to drive you. With discipline in place, you no longer have to depend on your emotions or moods to get things done. You simply do the work because it's what you've committed to. When you build discipline, you create a structure in which action becomes the default. Each day, you choose to show up and do the work, regardless of how you're feeling. This consistency compounds over time, and what starts as an effort to build discipline slowly transforms into a habit. And habits are powerful because they don't require constant willpower or motivation. Instead, they're automatic. You begin to act without needing to be inspired or motivated. It's the power of small, deliberate actions that leads to big results. One of the most powerful ways to develop discipline is to break down large tasks into manageable steps and take action on those steps every day. Whether it's starting a project, exercising, or focusing on your career goals, the act of showing up each day, even when it feels difficult, is what creates momentum. Over time, that momentum builds, and you'll find that the more you act, the easier it becomes to keep acting. The resistance you initially felt starts to fade, and instead of waiting for motivation to get you moving, you start to rely on your discipline to keep you going. Remember, it's easy to let procrastination take hold when you're constantly waiting for the perfect moment to begin. But the Stoics understood that perfection is a myth. Action, no matter how small, is what moves you forward. The key is to consistently take action even when you don't feel like it, and to build systems that reinforce your discipline. By doing this, you will find that procrastination no longer has control over you. It's the daily, consistent effort, the discipline, that will lead you to success, not waiting around for motivation to strike. So, stop waiting for the feelings of motivation to appear. Instead, take action now. Set a schedule, make a commitment to yourself, and show up every day, no matter how you feel. The more you rely on your discipline, the less procrastination will have a hold on you. Remember, the key to success isn't waiting for the right moment. It's creating that moment through your consistent, disciplined action.
Chapter 3. Control your mind. Don't let comfort derail your progress. Procrastination is often driven by a desire for comfort. Our minds are hardwired to avoid discomfort, which is why we procrastinate on tasks that feel challenging, overwhelming, or even tedious. Whether it's the daunting feeling of starting a large project, making a difficult decision, or confronting a responsibility we'd rather avoid, our brains will naturally steer us away from the uncomfortable. This avoidance mechanism makes it easy to delay tasks or get caught up in distractions, even though we know that these tasks are important. But as a Stoic woman, it's essential to recognize that growth comes not from avoiding discomfort, but from facing it head-on. Discomfort is where growth lies, and if you want to progress in life, you must embrace it. Seneca, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers, once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." This insight is crucial for overcoming procrastination. Often the tasks we delay seem much harder in our minds than they are in reality. Our thoughts inflate the difficulty of the task, and the anticipation of discomfort becomes worse than the discomfort itself. When we imagine a task to be overwhelming, it paralyzes us into inaction. But once we take the first step, we often find that the task is not as difficult as we thought. The mind, in its tendency to avoid discomfort, creates these exaggerated fears that keep us stuck. It's the imagination that causes the suffering, not the task itself. To break free from procrastination, it's crucial to train your mind to focus on progress over comfort. When you feel the urge to avoid something difficult, remind yourself that discomfort is part of the process. It's through overcoming discomfort that we develop strength, resilience, and confidence. The key to breaking the cycle of procrastination is to take action, even when it feels uncomfortable. By choosing to act despite the resistance you feel, you slowly rewire your brain to prioritize progress rather than comfort. Start small. Break tasks down into manageable pieces so they don't feel so overwhelming. When you break a large project into smaller steps, you reduce the emotional and mental barrier that procrastination builds. Focus on just the first step. The rest of the process will unfold as you move forward. When you focus on the immediate task rather than the bigger picture, you relieve some of the mental pressure that holds you back. The key is to take control of your thoughts. Push through the initial discomfort, and soon the resistance fades. By consistently choosing action over comfort, you begin to create a habit of doing what needs to be done. The more you push through your discomfort, the more confident you become in your ability to face challenges. You realize that the discomfort you once feared is simply a part of the process of growth. As you take action, even when it feels difficult, procrastination loses its grip on you. Progress, rather than comfort, becomes your focus, and with each step you take, you move closer to your goals.
Chapter 4. Take radical responsibility. No more excuses. Procrastination thrives on excuses. It lures us into a cycle of rationalizations that keep us stuck, constantly putting things off for a later time. We convince ourselves that we don't have time, that we're not good enough, or that tomorrow will be the perfect moment to start. The truth is, these excuses are nothing but traps. Traps that prevent us from taking action and moving forward. If we want to break free from procrastination, we must stop hiding behind these excuses and take radical responsibility for our actions. Stoicism teaches us the concept of radical responsibility, the idea that we are fully accountable for everything in our lives, especially the choices we make and the results that follow. This is not about blaming ourselves in a negative sense, but about recognizing the power we have over our own actions. If you find yourself procrastinating instead of pointing fingers at external factors or blaming circumstances, the Stoic mindset calls you to take ownership. You must recognize that, ultimately, you are the one holding yourself back. External factors like a busy schedule, lack of resources, or even external pressure can influence our lives, but they don't control our actions unless we allow them to. It's easy to fall into the trap of saying, "I don't have enough time," but the reality is, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. The way we choose to use that time is within our control. Epictetus, one of the foundational Stoic philosophers, profoundly said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This statement emphasizes that it's our reaction to circumstances, not the circumstances themselves, that defines us. When we face challenges or obstacles, our response is a reflection of our personal growth and resilience. We cannot control everything that happens in life, but we can control how we respond. Procrastination, in essence, is a failure to take responsibility for our response. It's the avoidance of the uncomfortable truth that we are the ones in control of whether we take action or not. When you start holding yourself accountable for your choices, procrastination no longer has a place in your life. You stop blaming others or circumstances for your lack of progress, and you begin to act based on the commitment you've made to yourself. This shift from external validation to internal responsibility is a powerful change. It means that you no longer wait for the perfect circumstances, the right mood, or someone else's permission to take action. You decide to act because you recognize that your growth and success are entirely in your hands. Taking radical responsibility doesn't mean that you won't face setbacks or challenges. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It means that, when things don't go as planned, you don't blame the situation or give up. Instead, you look at the situation, assess your actions, and decide what you can do to move forward. It's a mindset shift that places you at the helm of your own journey. By embracing radical responsibility, you take the power back from procrastination. No longer do you allow excuses to rule your decisions. You understand that every action, no matter how small, contributes to your progress. When you commit to growth and take ownership of your actions, procrastination is no longer an option. It simply cannot exist in a mindset that is focused on self-accountability and continuous improvement. So ask yourself, what excuses have been holding you back? What areas in your life are you still waiting for the right time or the perfect circumstances? It's time to take full responsibility for your actions, and by doing so, you will dismantle procrastination at its core. Start owning your choices, and you will start to see the world around you shift, not because the circumstances are different, but because you've chosen to take charge. Chapter 5. The Power of Immediate Action. Start today. When it comes to overcoming procrastination, there is one undeniable truth. Action is the cure. Procrastination thrives in the void of inaction, and no amount of planning, thinking, or discussing can ever replace the power of simply taking that first step. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said it best. Waste no more time arguing about what a good woman should be. Be one. This quote isn't just about moral integrity. It's about doing, about taking immediate, decisive action. For too long, we convince ourselves that the right moment will come. We wait until we feel ready, until we have the perfect plan, until everything falls into place. But that moment never arrives. The longer we wait, the more we talk ourselves out of acting. The key to breaking free from procrastination is to stop thinking, stop planning, and simply start doing. Action is the antidote to hesitation, fear, and uncertainty. The first step is always the hardest, whether it's opening the first page of a book you've been meaning to read, making that call you've been avoiding, or starting your workout routine. The resistance you feel is normal. Your mind will try to convince you that it's too soon, that you're not ready, or that there's a better time in the future. But here's the truth. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. This is where a simple yet powerful technique comes into play. The 5-second rule. When you feel hesitation creeping in, when your mind starts offering excuses or fears, Count down from 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As soon as you hit 1, take action. Whether it's standing up to go for a run, starting to write your report, or sending that email, whatever task you've been avoiding, take that first step immediately. The 5-second rule works because it bypasses your rational mind, which is often the source of procrastination, and taps into your ability to act before you have time to talk yourself out of it. The beauty of immediate action is that it builds momentum. Once you take that first step, no matter how small, you are already ahead of where you were a moment ago. The resistance you once felt begins to fade, and each action you take strengthens the habit of doing rather than delaying. The more you practice starting immediately, the easier it becomes. Over time, you create a habit of action that diminishes the power of procrastination. It's important to recognize that procrastination thrives in inaction. It feeds off your hesitation and grows stronger the longer you delay. But when you choose to act, you dismantle procrastination piece by piece. You make progress, and you prove to yourself that you have the ability to move forward, regardless of the obstacles in your mind. Action becomes the new habit that replaces procrastination. Remember, you don't need to wait for motivation, inspiration, or the perfect moment to start. Action is the catalyst that propels you forward. Whether it's a small task or a large project, the act of doing is what keeps you moving toward your goals. As you embrace this principle, you'll start to see procrastination for what it is, a barrier that disappears once you choose to take control of your actions. So, ask yourself, what's one thing you've been putting off? What's one small action you can take right now to break the cycle of procrastination? The answer is simple. Take that first step today. Don't wait. The longer you hesitate, the harder it becomes. But once you start, momentum takes over, and procrastination has no power over you. Start now, and let action be your new habit. Procrastination is a challenge, but it's not unbeatable. By embracing the Stoic principles of time awareness, discipline, mental control, responsibility, and immediate action, you can finally overcome procrastination and take charge of your life. Remember, it's not about waiting for the right mood or the perfect moment to act. It's about making the choice to take action, regardless of how you feel. Now ask yourself, are you ready to stop putting things off and start taking decisive steps towards your goals? If so, don't wait any longer. Take that first step right now. Leave a comment below letting me know which Stoic principle impacted you the most. And if this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with others who could benefit from these powerful strategies. Let's build a community of women who take action and live with unwavering discipline. Stay strong, stay disciplined, stay stoic.